friends, Dave Paulides, CanAm Missing Project. That's the executive producer of the show. That is Huck. And Huck is having a lazy summer day. She just woke up in the next room. I said, hey, your fans want to see ya. I said, come on in. And Huck said, all right, Dad. All right, Dad. Huh, he's a good girl. He's a good girl. Yes, you're a good girl. Yes, and you are loved by many. Yes, you are. So she'll get back to her nap, and I'll take off with the show. Thanks for being here. And give you a little update. So, the movie, National Parks, just got back after shooting for 14 days. Exhausted. When you have a crew that is paid by the day, whether they work or they don't, you want to make every day count. And we have a lot of people that are taking care of many moving parts. You got people that are setting up appointments, interviews, locations, permits, blah, 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 blah. Then you got a director, producer, camera, videographer, sound. Yes. Sound is as important as video. I don't care what anybody says, that's the way it is. And got to make every day count. Probably the hardest I've worked in a while. 12, I'd say 10 to 14 hour days for 2 weeks straight. I'm exhausted. I am exhausted. And we got a lot accomplished. Probably have an equal amount of work still to go. Everybody needs days off. Everybody needs to do other things other than this, except me. And we'll be shooting again in July, hopefully. But we're off to a good start. We'll see where it goes from there. Today, we're going to talk about 2 missing persons cases. And then at the end, we're going to talk about a special section. And it's going to be about what you teach your kids. Somebody asked me if I had rules that I taught my kids by. And we'll talk about that at the end, because I know you guys get all upset. Oh, we talked about this at the beginning. I wasted our time. Okay, don't worry. We're going to get to the cases right away. 2 cases. And first case is in Louisiana. I've never talked about it before. And I want you to see if you can see the parallels between the 2 cases we're going to talk about. First case involves a man 36 years old, missing June 10th, 2011, named Shane Fel. Disappeared at 12:40 a.m. Shane was smart. He was a senior technical writer for Verifone in Louisiana, and he was a University of Louisiana grad in '97. He used to live in Georgia, recently moved back to Louisiana where his family and friends were at. He was single. And on the night of June 9th, he and 7 friends, including his brother, Brett, met at a place called the Rum Runners in Marrero, Louisiana. You kind of tell by the name of the place, you're going to have fun. These guys actually went to shoot pool and commiserate. Typical guy thing. At a little after midnight, all the people decided that it was time to head home, and they all went to their individual cars and took off. Shane was driving his green Saturn vehicle on Barathria Boulevard, northbound towards River Road. And as he got towards River Road, you had to make a turn. And he took it a little sharp, got into a ditch, and he flipped the Saturn. and he was able to crawl out the passenger side window. It was on its ceiling, on its top. At 12:40, Brett, his brother, who he was with over at the bar, called him to just make sure that he got home safely. Shane said that he had gotten in an accident, and he asked if Brett could pick him up, and he told him where. He was at River Road in Barathria, right next to the Mississippi River. Yeah, right next to the Mississippi River. Probably a good time to talk about this. So this is Marrero, Louisiana. This is Mississippi River. They were all drinking at this place, rum runners. Just about a mile and a half between rum runners and the turn for River Road. And as Shane is going down to make the turn, he cut it a little close, got into the ditch, flipped the car. Didn't get anywhere near the river, but flipped it. Got out. And at 12:40 a.m., his brother calls him. Says, hey, I want to make sure you got home. Okay, how you doing? Had a great time, blah, blah, blah. Shane says, hey, I wrecked the car. I need you to pick me up. At about 12:48, emergency services for the county and fire start arriving on the scene. Somebody had seen the car over, called 911, fire department, emergency services are arriving. They arrive, they don't see Shane anywhere, and just a couple minutes later, Brett arrives, his brother, talks to emergency services and says, hey, have you seen my brother? He says, no. They start looking around, they start searching. He's nowhere. Now, Brett said that Shane was alert and coherent when they talked, and he said he wasn't injured. Jefferson County Sheriffs were the primary law enforcement agency on the scene and searched the area that night. Brett called Shane multiple times during the night. There was no answer. The Jefferson County Sheriff searched the area for 4 days using canines, drones, ground pounders. Family put up flyers throughout the county. Search found nothing. On June 19th, Texas EcuSearch, a private search organization, stated that they did not believe Shane was in the water in the Mississippi adjacent to the crash. Now remember, Shane told Brett he was not injured. The family went out and sponsored several private searches to finding Shane. Didn't find him. Brett was so committed to finding his brother that he had the wanted poster painted on the side of his truck. That's commitment. Now, Shane had a Louisiana driver's license. I'm sorry, he had a Georgia driver's license. He hadn't gotten one in Louisiana yet. Now, I want to talk to you about this because I think it's important. Because a lot of people are going to say, oh yeah, he was under the influence or this and that, and he just didn't want to get caught. Man, maybe. Makes a lot of sense, right? But I got to tell you something. There's no way to prove who was driving that car. And if Shane came forward to law enforcement the next day and he said, yeah, I wrecked my car, I got disoriented, I came home, I didn't feel good, I fell asleep, and the next day he wakes up and calls, he's not going to get charged with drunk driving because they have to prove he was drunk, which they can't. Alcohol would be out of his system. Now, the family has tracked Shane's bank accounts. There's been no activity for 14 years. There's no evidence to say where Shane is located. Now, why is that a little odd? First of all, I find it highly odd because I've had several cases just like this. An accident in conjunction with a disappearance. Now, there would be no reason for Shane to lie to Brett if he was injured? None. It's his brother. Now, if he was coherent, which means he wasn't dazed, confused, he knew exactly where he was. Now, adjacent to this site is an oil facility. There was no saying whether that was searched. But right adjacent to the accident scene is the Mississippi River. Told you before that a lot of disappearances have happened adjacent to the Mississippi. Not in Louisiana, just north of there. Louisiana has had a preponderance of almost no disappearances, which is odd to me. So the million-dollar question, what happened to Shane? Canines can't find anything. Trackers can't find anything. Called his brother, right after that, gone. That's Shane, 36 years old, professional job, tech writer, college grad, gone. He fits that profile, under 40, missing near water, canines can't find anything. He's gone, completely gone. Right now, it has been 14 years. Nothing. Next case involves a man named Wade Robison. This is Wade, 22 years old, missing April 2nd, 2024. Lived in Mesquite, Texas. He was employed as a landscaper, lawn care. He worked for a company that did it all. He was described by friends as a workaholic. And he hadn't taken one day off in 3 years. He worked 7 days a week for 3 years. It's kind of impressive in my book for a 22-year-old. He was an Eagle Scout, enjoyed the outdoors, had a dog, drove a purple Pontiac GTO. He had an Instagram page, had pictures of him hiking along with a truck. He liked the outdoors, like I said. April 2nd, 2024, 6 a.m. It's a Sunday. Like I said, he works 7 days a week. He's driving to work. It's a Sunday morning. He was driving along and he crashed his car on Highway 80 on an overpass in Forney, Texas. Forney. The crash was on an overpass adjacent to the Trinity River, and the river is controlled by a dam upstream. Wade crashed his car, got out, called a work associate, and asked to be picked up at a quick car, I guess like a 7-Eleven, on Broad Street at Pinson Road. Broad Street at Pinson Road. So here is where the accident happened. This Highway 80 is the Trinity River. The dam's up here. He has to be picked up right here. Right here. Kind of get the distance isn't that far. This is kind of open space, woodsy, marshy area. Well, there was moderate damage to Wade's car. He wasn't going to be driving. And the crash was at an overpass in a precarious spot to stand around and watch. So the ongoing theory was that he wanted to get to a regular safe location, get his friend there and call the police. Well, his friend gets there, Wade's not there. He called Wade. There's no answer. Wade never arrived at work, never arrived for the pickup by his friend. and he was reported missing to the Forney police. And the search for Wade started soon after that. Police brought in canines multiple times in the area of the crash. Rivers, woods, creeks in that area were all searched. Forney police also brought in drones, ATVs, and canines, also horses. The searchers found footprints near the scene indicating he was barefoot. It's pretty odd. Leaving an accident scene with glass and things around. Searchers also found Wade's phone on the southeast area of the crash, kind of near a creek. Now remember, he called his friend on that phone, but sometime soon, very soon after that, he lost his phone, somehow. Forney police contacts Dallas Fire Department, and they have their Swiftwater Rescue come out and search the river area of the Trinity near there. I found that interesting. No evidence he's anywhere actually near that river. Now he is near a creek, but the creek wasn't flowing that much. But water searchers had to stop soon after they started because the dam notified them that they were going to be having to release water. There was a 5-day search and rescue and didn't find Wade. The article stated that Forney police was down 8 officers and they exhausted all their search and rescue possibilities. On May 12th, so this incident happened on April 2nd, May 12th, Wade's mom is interviewed. And she says that Wade's ATM card has never been used since the accident. She said that there had been private searches, that the area had been done multiple times on multiple days. Nothing else had been found. Family was devastated. She says, I pray he's alive, but I feel he is not alive. She says it's like a roller coaster and your gut is wrenching, where you don't know what to do and you will continually try to keep the faith. A professional tracker was summoned by the family. His name was Solis. He's worked several cases in the past, always found the missing person. He says his research says that Wade walked barefoot from the crash scene east to a nearby field, encountered a closed gate, and went to a creek bed. And Solis tracked him temporarily through this dry creek bed and then lost him. Solis says, I've never seen someone who went missing where so many resources were thrown to find him. Forney sent everyone to look for him. That's what Solis said. So Solis is a proven tracker. He found a lot of people. For him to say that carries a lot of weight in my mind. So let's think about the two cases here. Wade was 22, Shane was 36. Both of them were white males. Both were driving vehicles, cars, in accidents. Both called friends immediately after the accident asking for a ride. Both accidents were directly adjacent to water. Both men were single and employed. Both didn't show up for their friends after they called for them. There's absolutely zero evidence that either one is alive. In Wade's case, the tracker says he's never seen anything like it. Both vehicles were disabled. Wade left barefoot. Canines and trackers in both cases couldn't locate either victim. Remember, missing clothing, missing shoes. next to water. Canines can't find him. In either instance, nobody ever said that either one of the accident victims were injured. Keep that in mind. In Wade's case, I find it highly doubtful that he was under the influence or drunk at 6 a.m. when he knew he had to work that morning. Especially for a guy working 7 days a week, I don't know about that. But again, even if he was, why wouldn't he be going back to his bank account days later, years later? Why wouldn't he be calling his parents, friends, relatives? Do you see the parallels in these cases? One was in Texas, the other one right next door in Louisiana. Now, there's been many other of these cases, extremely similar cookie-cutter types. Why am I telling you this? Because it's important. Don't get yourself into a rat hole and think, oh, that's all we're going to look at. Maybe there's something about a crash in an automobile that activates something in your brain. I have no idea. But remember, neither one was injured. Both of these people were isolated and alone when they disappeared. No witnesses. Now, I've got to say, in Shane's case, I bet the farm that he'd been drinking, so there's alcohol in his system. I get that. And just remember, in Missing 411, a sobering coincidence, the people that disappeared there had been drinking as well, and were found later in water under unexplained circumstances. Now, for Shane and Wade, they disappeared right next to water, right there. The Trinity River, he crashed over it. In the other case, the Mississippi River was right next to the road. You just can't ignore these things. I know I get a lot of comments on the videos. Dave, I don't get the water association. Well, I try to explain this to you as many times as I can. I'm not trying to push an agenda because I don't care about an agenda. I care about facts. Facts are important. And a true researcher doesn't ignore them. Okay, it doesn't fit my profile, so I'm going to ignore that. No, you put that in a pile off to the side, and you see how many of those you have over the next 6 months or a year when you're doing investigations. These accidents with vehicles and people missing is a real thing. So, that's the 2 cases for today. Appreciate you being here. Now, if you don't want to hear about something else, leave right now. But I'm going to talk to you about the things to teach your kids. Let me explain this. A few years ago, a friend sent me a list of things that we thought we should teach kids, that we have taught our kids. And then we worked on it a while, added to it as it went along. And this is our list. Now, I would encourage you to add to it or subtract from it and put it on the comments for this video so we can all see. If you're a young parent out there, you keep your list. I'm not saying this is the best list. It's pretty comprehensive. Start with number 1. Respect everyone. Until they prove otherwise, everyone deserves respect. Speak the truth. Even when it's really hard, speak the truth. Yeah, but my friends, I don't want to rat them out. Hey, you know what? Speak the truth. One lie usually leads to another, which leads to another, and you get yourself in more trouble. If you lie to law enforcement, that's a crime. Don't do it. Speak the truth. Etiquette 1. Shake hands firmly and look people in the eye. Whenever I've met anyone, my folks told me this a long time ago. My dad did. Dave, when you meet somebody, I don't care who it is, a lady, older man, make eye-to-eye contact and you shake their hand like you mean business. You'll never, ever insult anybody by doing that. This is a big one. Take responsibility for your actions. I was recently on a business trip, filming. And there was a little mishap, let's say. And the person that did it, we were riding together, he looked at me and said, Dave, it's my fault. Not anyone else's. It's my fault. Don't get mad at anyone else. It's me. And we had a long discussion about it. This guy's about half my age. My level of respect for him rose a quantum amount. He didn't need to do that, but he did. I knew him pretty well. That was a very, very mature thing to do, that everyone should do it. Keep your promises. Be a person of your word. If you tell somebody you're going to do something, don't make an excuse later why you can't do it. Do it. And if you didn't do it, admit it. Don't make an excuse. I know this one seems real basic, but for younger adults, young kids, teach them how to cook basic meals. Why? Kids eat too much crap. Oh, I'll go down to Wiener Schnitzel. That's an old, horrible place. Eat hot dogs. I'll grab a couple hot dogs. No. Make your own meal at home. Make a healthy meal for yourself. Moms, teach your kids how to do that. Dads, teach your kids how to do that. Another easy one. Save before you spend. When I was a young policeman, policemen have a set salary. You can make more money by working more overtime. I was single. I was young. I really wasn't dating anybody. Didn't really know anybody in Fremont where I worked. I gobbled up every piece of overtime I could take. And what I told myself is I'm going to save enough money and get a decent car. And I did. Save before you spend. Stand up for what's right. What do I mean by that? Kids, they're in school. You can run for president of your class. Teacher asks you a question in class. Tell the truth. Speak your mind. I don't care if 3/4 of the class says A and you believe B and you have a logical reason for that. Speak up. Apologize when you're wrong. Don't try to dodge the issue. People will always respect you more when you admit when you are wrong and you made a mistake. I talked about this all the time. Practice gratitude. Something we don't do enough of. Live that. The Marines, they teach you in the morning to make your bed. And make your bed perfectly so it's right and it's clean and it's uniform to every other bed. Because they say that's the way you start your day. Keep your room and your mind clean. Choose friends wisely. My mom once told me when I was young in high school, and she said, Dave, you are who you associate with. If people on the outside that don't know you see you hanging around with a bunch of crumb bums, drug dealers, alcoholics, immediately, without even knowing you, they're going to associate you with those people, and those must be your habits as well. Wise. Don't fear failure. Learn from it. I didn't understand that when I was young. I failed at a lot of things. Honestly, I'm not good at math. If there's one thing in the world that Dave is not great at, it's calculus. When I was in high school, I took it twice. It was the one class I wasn't getting A's in out of all my classes. I was trying to get in Berkeley, and I had to keep a certain GPA. So, over the summer, I retook calculus. I hated that class, and I hated being in it during the summer. But I learned from it. I didn't fail it during the school year. My grade wasn't good enough, so I retook it. Keep learning every day. Make it a point. Read things you don't normally read. Talk to people you don't normally talk to. And ask questions. Take care of your health. Very important. And you got to teach kids young that this is important. You know, when you go to the gas station and you have a real nice car and it calls for premium gas, if you put unleaded cheap gas in it, it doesn't run so well. Human body's the same way. You keep putting garbage in your system, eventually it's not going to run too well. And it's going to start breaking down. Teach your kids that. Teach them to read the labels on the cans and on the packages. If it has words on that label that you don't understand, you better not buy it. Listen twice as much as you're talking. You guys are probably going to laugh about that. My mom taught me that. Listen twice as much as you're talking. You'll learn twice as much over a lifetime. You're going to laugh at this one. Learn to change a tire. I'll leave that on the dads. Yeah, you should absolutely instruct your daughter on, same as your son, on how to do that. They're in the middle of nowhere. They're going to have to do it. And don't tell me a young lady can't do it. They can do it. Learn to change a tire. Respect your parents. Always. Parents aren't always right. Just because they're not right doesn't mean you can disrespect them. Parenting is the hardest job in the world. I can swear to that. There's no book. There's no ledger. There's no instructions on how to be a great parent guaranteed. No, it doesn't exist. Most of us work off the fly. Kids out there, you're going to be in our position one day. And you will learn quickly, hey, my parents did the best job they could under the circumstances. Now I understand. Yeah, just respect them. Be honest. Kind of falls in with what other things I've talked about already, but when you try to dodge being honest, just gets you into more trouble. Spend time with grandparents. I can think about the times I spent with my grandparents. So wise, so smart, so fun. I had grandparents that were Russian immigrants. spoke great English. Super hard workers. Learned a lot from them. Control your anger before it controls you. One thing in life I'm good at is controlling my anger. I learned that in the police department when I was really young. And I learned to just let the rubbish roll right off my back. Somebody starts calling me names. Yeah, right. They don't know me. All I see is a uniform, and they're judging me on the uniform, but they don't know me. I actually feel sorry for people that just wildly say things about others. And most of the time, I always thought, they can't be very smart to be doing that. So I never took it seriously. Now, I took physical threats seriously, but not their words. So manage your anger. Always. Lead by example. Always. Lead by example. If everyone around you is losing their mind, don't you do that. You be that strong, lonely voice that speaks common sense and rational thinking. Just because this is a crowd is all going to go rush this person, don't you do it. Manage money wisely. A great lesson for any age. Know the value of hard work. My dad gave me those lessons at a young age. He built swimming pools. So when I was young, he'd take me to the job site, and I was the one digging the ditches that put the pipes in all around the pools. It was a horrible job. It was horrible. He paid me a lot of money at that time to dig these horrible ditches. And it kept me out of trouble. It kept me near him and his team. I absolutely hated the work, but I loved the money. It was horrendous. And I told myself, you know what? Later on in life, I'm not digging ditches. Because I know I know what hard work is, and that was horribly hard work. At a young age, I'd go home with a sore back. Never mock somebody who's struggling. Never. One of these days, it could be you. Just because somebody's weaker, has trouble, I call that you're almost bullying somebody. Personally, I hate bullies. Always hated bullies. Don't be one of those people. Learn to say no without guilt. Don't make excuses. Just say no. No, thank you. I would advise you not to say that to your parents. Stay humble. I've known a lot of people over the years that became relatively famous. A few of them always stayed humble. A few of them lost their minds. They started to believe all the irrational stuff around them. And people like me just stayed away from them. Learn to fix the small things. Something breaks. Learn the type of glue you use to fix it. Tire goes down, learn how to change it. Those small things in life can gnaw at you. Fix them. And don't wait to fix them. Fix them now. It's a big one for me. It's always been a big one. Read daily. Books build the mind and keep your brain healthy. No, watching YouTube doesn't do that. Different mechanisms in the brain, different thought process, entirely different. Reading keeps your mind riveted. I can't tell you how much this is true. I read a ton. I have to for my work. I read what different people write. I read their different styles. Read. That's why libraries exist. You can go get books there for free. Don't argue just to win. Discuss to understand. Don't argue with somebody. That lowers yourself. If somebody starts to get heated with you, and their voice starts to go up, you look at them, and you answer in a much lower tone. And while they may be talking up here, and you're talking down here, you watch. You keep talking at that lower tone. And it takes the wind out of their sails. They'll slowly start talking your way. This has worked hundreds of times for me, especially when I was a policeman. People get all irate. Hey, don't be irate. We'll work this out together. Stay away from drama and gossip. I never liked those people, ever. Because you know what? They're going to try to go after me sooner or later. Stay away from it. Don't participate in it. And lastly, always practice self-control. You may not see me lose my mind. When I really get mad sometimes, which is very rare, I'll just go out into the woods by myself and just yell as loud as I can. I've done that a few times. Clears my mind up. But most of the time, I'll sit in the room. You can call it meditation. Just thinking my way through whatever the issue is. Those are 34 things to teach your kids. I think one more thing on that list. There's a really good chance that if I had a child today that was in grammar school, unless they were a genius, I would probably have them go to trade schools. Because a normal family can't handle the cost of college today. It's too much. And you go into too much debt these days with that degree. And too many degrees are absolutely worthless. Or you get a $200,000 debt to be a social worker, you'll never make enough money to pay it off. Not that the degree is worthless, but the degree can't pay for itself. We have a big need for the trades. The trades pay very well right now. And there will always be a place for a plumber, electrician, etc. Always. So that's the show for today. I appreciate you being here. If you want to add to our list, please do on the video. I look forward to it. In the meantime, be kind, be safe, be friendly. Appreciate the service workers around you. And know that I appreciate you very much. Very much. Thanks for being here. I think Huck would say the same thing, but she's sleeping. She's not snoring yet. Almost. Paulides out.